I congratulate all of you for being leaders, particularly in what we know is to be a very challenging time. I think about when I stepped in as the president of the National Asian Pacific American Bar Association back in November, which seems so long ago, but also just a short time ago as well. And I remember just speaking to the membership and talking to them and saying, you know, we have work to do, but I had no idea what that meant and what 2020 would have in store, as I imagine most of you. And for my organization, what I would say is within the Asian community, it has been definitely a challenging one, similar to many others. And so Carl just asked me to talk about some of the experiences that I've had as leading this organization. And I will say it all really began in February when we had our first board meeting. And I was hearing some discussion about COVID, of which we now know extensively so much more. But at that time, it was very little. And so I was just really polling our board members and asking them, have they heard anything? And some of them had spoken up and talked about how their kids were being bullied and discriminated against because they were associating this pandemic with the Chinese virus and they looked to be Chinese, and folks were telling them not to associate with these kids. And so we quickly realized that we probably really needed to be doing a lot of outreach to our community. One, to be figuring out how this is impacting them, and then two, as an organization, what we needed to do. And so to those points, you know, we were both trying to be proactive and reactive. But we all know quickly thereafter, everything escalated as we saw an increase in those who are being infected with COVID. We also saw a very a direct corollary to an increase in the hate crimes that we were seeing on our community. And so one, we know that we knew that we needed to speak out. And in this virtual realm, you know, an email or a message or a social media post, when everybody was being inundated, it needed to be more. So we did. We reached out to a number of other organizations, and I was proud to see that, you know, we have folks, Trish is on from the ABA, but we had folks from the ABA and other sister bar associations. And we thought that this is a time that we needed to speak up in unity and solidarity. We left it open. We just kind of said we would like to do a video. And what we did was, we stand against hate. And it was very much related to my community, the APA community, but other organizations rose up. And it was more than heartwarming. It was able to show that we stood in solidarity at this point. We stood with each other. It was very much our issue that we thought, but other organizations took it as theirs as well. And they not only participated in the video, but they also did quite a bit of their own organizational statements to say that we needed to stop the rhetoric of calling it by the Chinese or the Kung Flu virus. And we needed to also be standing up for our communities, minority underrepresented communities. And so we had, I think, over like 6,000 views now, and it's just been amazing what we were able to do with this video and in this realm. And so we just had to think outside the box. And you know, and then when George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all those murders were occurring, we realized that this was not our time to continue our message, but we needed to step back and figure out how to stand with the Black community. And so we worked with other organizations and we reached out. And then at the same time with our organization to show our solidarity and to speak out, we've now also done a pledge to say we want a pledge to stamp out racism. It's an individual pledge, and then we're also asking for funds to go to the Equal Justice Initiative. But there are a lot of things that we've learned through this, that it is a challenging time, but this is the time for us to step up and rise up together and to think outside the box. And so with these kind of videos and these pledges, we're seeing that we're far reaching at this point, much more than just our membership. And, you know, we also recognize that we are a nonpartisan organization, but there are policy resolutions that we have as an organization that we need to speak out, and we need to be bold when we do. It's not always going to, we're not always going to please all of our members, but we need to show, or at least from a NAPABA perspective, we knew that we needed to speak out so our community felt like they had a voice and that we were being heard and they're being supported. And so hopefully, you know, as you are leading, you can be bold as well and seek that solidarity and the unity with others.